And welcome into the Wednesday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Hope everybody is off to a wonderful start today. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home with the $99 yearly Beehive membership with a buzz. Is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I mean, we got some Charmed on the TV. What could be better?
Season 1, late 90s Charmed. A lot of interesting stuff going on out there. We had a dog a minute ago shooting lasers out of its eyes.
Yeah, the special effects are really, really something else, man. It's like as I've told people, if you've never seen the movie Clash of the Titans,
yeah.
Which was a major theatrical release. It had like claymation as its main special effects. You should definitely, Charmed will look good by comparison. But some things about Charmed are just top shelf.
Every now and then I just look up at Ian and that head's just cranked up to the TV back there, and then I figure, well, something crazy on Charm's going on, and then they're walking through space or whatever they're doing in some of these in this show every now and then. It's good stuff. Ian, how we doing?
It's the official show of Robby and Rexrode.
It is. Yep, back to season 1. Gone full circle once again. So Shannon Doherty, welcome back.
Welcome back to the show.
Ooh.
But we're doing good. A little tired today. Had a 4-year-old wake up. Little never like a 1:30 a.m. puke wake up call.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's always fun.
Nothing like that to keep you up for an hour.
Ah, man, it's tough.
It's not good.
No.
But hanging in. Doing good. Happy Wednesday. Beautiful weather. So should be a fun day.
Should be. We got Paul Kuharsky with us later today. It's always fun when Kuharsky's with us. So
it is.
If he's on time by Rexrode standards, he'll be here at 7:30. And if he's on time about, when he's supposed to be here, it'll be 8 o'clock. So we'll see where that lands with PK. He's been on a run, though, of right around 7:30. He just rolls in.
I mean, he has come in before at like 7. It's like, that might be a little aggressive, man. We didn't want that much of you.
It's got to be the perfect balance.
7:30 is about right.
7:30 is about right.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get PK's thoughts on the Predators coming up just short.
Yeah,
playoff push. Or the Yankees being 9-8. Either one.
I don't think we get his takes enough on hockey.
I agree.
Are the Yankees 9-8? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Tigers are 8-9. We've won 4 in a row. So we've won 4 in a row.
You take any credit for that? I mean, you basically declared them dead the other day on the show, and now they've responded.
I guess it's a reverse jinx. The bottom line is if you can come out there most days with a quality arm on the mound, which is what they have, you should be able to figure things out. So we got a Skubal performance, no hitter into the 6th. We got a Framber performance last night. So, that's you should over time be all right. But my God, Torkelson, send him back to AAA.
Joe, there's an athlete that we've been keeping up with for years at this point here on this particular program that I believe is about to start turning some heads all over the world. And he's already begun that process. And that is 18-year-old sprinting phenom, Gout, who the other day set a world record, 19.67 time in the 200-meter run, which surpassed Usain Bolt. Gout broke a world record the other day from Usain Bolt in Sydney, down there in the Australian Championships. In Australia, obviously. 18 years old, Gout. He's now officially a man, and he's running around breaking world records down there, Joe Rexrode. And every time I watch that person or that man run and see these articles written, you get tagged in something. I always think of you. And I think here for the next, I don't know, what's the prime of a sprinter's career?
Well, it's
18
coming.
to 24.
Yeah, I mean, and some guys can take it into the late 20s. I mean, Bolt was still winning golds, right? In the late 20s, I think. Yeah,
so this is the decade of Gout is what you're saying.
No, it is. We are like Gout has been a little fun thing on the show because this is a gout awareness
it is
safe space. A lot of people are asking about the gout. And no, like the gout is going to be talked about like Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to put too much on the kid. His name's Gout.
He did just break a world record of Usain Bolt.
Right. But I mean, like, I think that's probably happening. Like he had a 19.67 in the 200. The Bolt's best time ever was 19.93. That was in 2004. So you still, you have to do it on the, on the big stage, which the next summer is LA, right?
That is correct.
But he may be like one of the, and he's
like I said, it'd be 2028. So 2 summers.
Yeah. So 2 years from, so he'll be 20. And he may be one of the stars of the Olympics. And so let's all get used to it. Gout, man. Gout. To me, it's an opportunity for people who still don't know of gout to maybe somehow have a parent like someone like that. An athlete of that excellence would be probably the furthest thing from someone having gout. So,
well, particularly this sport. I mean, think about if he had gout in this sport that he's trying to compete in.
Well, that'd
be a huge problem.
A foot thing.
It'd be a huge issue.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be breaking Usain Bolt records if he had gout. If gout had gout.
This guy's a high-level athlete. I mean, he's going to end up being, he's on track to end up being maybe the greatest sprinter of all time. We'll see, how it goes over the decade of dominance coming up here. We got to find a way to do some live show out in LA for the Olympics and get him on.
So, by the way, I've gone down the rabbit hole. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm for that. But I've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit of his name. It's a result of a clerical error, according to the internet. It's actually originally named Guat, G-U-O-T. It was misspelled as gout. Okay,
so this was meant to be.
Yeah. So actually, they want the pronunciation to be Guat.
I won't do it.
You refuse. He may be the greatest athlete in the world, but this program refuses to recognize his actual name as
that ain't happening. Not on this show. It's not going to happen. Gout is what it's going to be forever.
You get the gout, man. It's just there.
So it's really interesting because now I'm trying to figure out, is that the first or the last name? It must be the first name. So it should be Guat Gout.
That's amazing.
And even if it's Guat Gout, I mean, that's
still pretty good.
Yeah, but Gout is obviously honestly, it is one of those names. I mean, like famous people have like the single name, right? Like Madonna and Prince and whoever. There's like the single name. LeBron. Yeah, sure. Some people they just lose the last name. So, but like Madonna and Prince are like, that's what they, LeBron, as we just started calling him LeBron. Yeah. But if you can have the same name double, that's kind of
pretty sweet, man.
Is there any other examples of that?
I don't think so.
Like the closest I can think of is God Shamgod, which is one of the greatest names of all time. Good. Providence, like basketball player from like 1997, God Shamgod.
Yeah.
But
you hate me, all one word.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then there's that too.
What a league that was. Taylor MW says, 1, gout, and you're Joe Rexrode. 2, you're the fastest man alive. How ironic.
Maybe if you have gout in both feet, like it's like actually a superpower. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ian's got a lot of drops.
Finding all the.
Ian's like, finally.
Oh
my work can be unleashed back here. Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I probably have not watched an Olympic style sprinting event since Usain Bolt, because frankly, I just don't care that much.
Do you watch it during the Olympics?
No.
No, really?
Don't care.
Oh, wow.
Don't care.
That's crazy to me.
Unless it's like Usain Bolt.
Huh. Okay.
But I'll be watching this one.
Yeah. All right.
I'll be ready to go in the summer of 2028.
He's expanding the fan base.
Yeah, the fan base is growing.
I remember when it was popular in the 90s with Michael Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I remember watching that as a youngster. That was a big time one.
Yeah. I mean, of course, of an age where like Carl Lewis, like you would not miss a Carl Lewis race. You would not miss it. I would not miss it.
I wouldn't miss Carl Lewis singing the national anthem either.
That might be something to miss.
Can you think Gout can do
Gout,
that?
maybe Gout sing, but he'd be stringing the Australian
He
national
would.
anthem. So
He would.
and I'd listen.
I'd listen
to that.
Yep. This is your primer
Gout
for
has to say.
the 2028 Summer Olympics.
Yes. But yeah, like it's going to be he is going to become one of the most famous athletes in the world.
Eat that, Carl Lewis!
We are on the precipice of this. Justin says, you guys brought so much awareness to gout that they're breaking world records now. That's right.
No.
Who's this texter? All caps says, Joe, you're a grown ass man. Stop sounding sleepy, dude. Wake up. I
think you're fine.
Sleepier than normal, do I?
I think you're fine this morning.
Fine.
Matter of fact,
Got like gout talk going, and we're
compared to when you just woke up and did a show after the national championship where you got no hours of sleep. I think you sound great this morning.
Yeah. That was about a week ago?
It was.
Feels like a long time ago.
We're off and running on Robby and Rexrode today. We'll take more of your thoughts on gout. We will get into the Nashville Predators coming up next, and Joe's asking me to play general manager here.
Yes.
So that's what I'll do. We'll get into that. Take you
it.
through the plan. Paul Kuharsky with us later in the show. We got a lot of things with Kuharsky to get into. Busy show this morning. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Paul Kuharsky will be with us in the second half of the program. And we got a lot of things to get into with PK. The NFL draft is coming up. So we'll get into all things NFL draft, all things Tennessee Titans with Paul Kuharsky a little bit later in the program. Joe, great participation yesterday on the Nashville Predators front from our listeners. Keep those coming today. We appreciate it. At 615-737-1025. Obviously, we're going to wrap this thing up tomorrow. We will have Andrew Brunette on our show tomorrow to close things out in the regular season as well. So Bruno will be with us at 7:30 tomorrow on the show. And they're taking on Anaheim tomorrow night. And then that's all she wrote for this season. And you get pretty quickly into the offseason and what's going to happen at general manager and the plan moving forward. So we heard from a lot of listeners yesterday about, what are some of the priorities going to be for the general manager whenever they name whoever it is that's going to be the general manager of this team. What are some of the things that you need to be taking a look at here? And, one of the things that I mentioned yesterday was having to have a pretty honest discussion with Jonathan Marchessault about, all right, hey, where's this going here, right? Like, you're under contract. You got 3 more years left after this one. It has not worked to this point. I think there's probably some mutual interest in seeing what's out there and seeing whether or not you can make a deal. As Marchessault has pointed out, he does have a no-move clause. So it would have to be a pretty specific set of circumstances with his cap hit that he's got. I think that there's limited options as to what that's going to look like. But I don't think it's an impossible task to move on from Jonathan Marchessault. So I talked about that yesterday. That's definitely something I would do. I'm looking at Puckpedia right now. And again, this is a projection. So, take it for what it's worth. But the projected cap space for the Predators heading into this offseason is on the doorstep of $30 million, like $29 million. Cap's going up. They've got Stamkos and Yossi, but they don't have a ton of huge decisions to make from a finance standpoint this offseason. Like, a lot of these guys are under contract for next year. So, like, you got to figure out, whether or not you want to re-sign Eric Holla, I guess. You got to figure out.
You're telling us what you're doing.
I know. You got to figure out which I'm setting all this up.
Okay. You're setting it up.
Yeah. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Justin Barron. And I'd probably let that one go. That's just me. But there's not a ton of, like, huge decisions that you've got to make with your roster this offseason in terms of free agents that are coming up with contracts. So that part's good. Like, it's good that you don't have a ton of these things to do. One thing that I hit on yesterday that I think is really important here for the next general manager, and it's hard to do when you haven't been really involved in it and you've not been a part of the organization. There's a ton of prospects that they've got, right? And we've talked about this. They have a ton of prospects. A big reason that they're in the top 5 of Scott Wheeler's ranking at The Athletic is because of the quantity of the prospects that they have. And they've got some good quality prospects, but they've got just a ton of prospects that they got to figure out here. And to me, as I'm shaping next year's team, I'm doing it if I'm the general manager with this in mind. I need a spot for Brady Martin in there. I need a spot for Matthew Wood at center. I need next year, to me, and it sounds weird for a 21, 22-year-old first-round pick, I got to see something from Kimmel next year. If I don't see something from Kimmel next year, that's a big problem. So I need him to play. Like, I need Kimmel to be on the team and playing next year. I need LaRue to take another step. And because if you look beyond it, you got Surin coming, you got Molendyke on D coming, and they need some help on D. Like, they need some of these defensemen to start coming up. So I am doing whatever. Like, that's why if it's me, like, I'm not bringing back Eric Holla. I'm not really adding much from a veteran perspective this offseason, because I think you got to start to figure out what you have and maybe more specifically what you don't have with some of these young players over the next couple of years here as you're going through the transition. And you're going to have to start weeding some of these guys out. Like Edstrom. Edstrom needs to play next year. Like, you need to see what he is, because you're going to have to start making some decisions on a lot of these young guys. So there's only so many spots you're going to have. Like, there's only so many roster spots available to you. Only so many of them are going to be able to play. That's my plan if I'm this offseason, if I'm the general manager. I'm making the way for as many of these guys that are kind of right on the doorstep of these young guys as possible. You know, I'd be listening on O'Reilly. I have my doubts that they will. My guess is, you know, depending on who the next general manager is, but I could see there being interest in signing him to an extension coming up on July 1st. So I'm not totally against that, but I'd be listening to both sides of it, right? Like, I'm not totally closing the door on the idea of trading him if I just get some crazy offer by the time the NHL draft comes around, if I'm the Predators. But that's more or less like my overarching plan. We can get into some more specific stuff here in a minute, but this is the offseason to me, and the season next year to me, where you got to figure out how many of these guys can play and how many of these guys are just guys that you have to begin to kind of churn out in your organization, because you have so many of these prospects that are coming up behind this current wave that you got to figure out who's staying and who's going.
Yeah. No, I think that totally makes sense. I think your plan is similar to things I've heard Vinkin talk about. And you're probably, if you do that, you're probably, I mean, you're signing up to lose next year, I think, right? Like
It's probably not going to be great.
Probably not going to be great. I think the counter to that from like a Trotz, the way he looks at it is like, how many guys are you putting in position to fail to the point where or maybe they could succeed in a year or two, you know, right? Like, that's his whole thing, right? Is like, I've seen guys lose. I've heard him say this. I've seen guys lose their confidence completely because they're put in matchups that they're not ready for, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to be very careful.
My response to that is, I think a lot of that's case by case. Like, for instance, if Kimmel's not ready to play next year, then I don't know when he's going to be ready to play. Like, he's been around for a while.
He's
at this
cooked.
Point. It's time to go.
He has cooked.
He's a first round pick, and I know
we've been talking about him for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like he's 21, 22, but like it's time to go. Like it's time for you to get up to the, and look, he was called up down the stretch here, and he got in. Like, he scored 1 goal, he had 3 points in 15 games. Well, that ain't gonna cut it. Like, it's time to start going. So, like, you know, LaRue doesn't need any more time in Milwaukee. Like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
So, like, I think a lot of these are case by case basis. Like, I would agree, you know, I don't know, like, if Tanner Molendike's not ready to play in the NHL by the time October rolls around, that's not a huge deal. Like, you could get him up at some point next year. But some of these other guys that have been here in the system for 2-3 years, it's time. Like, you got to figure out what you are.
I agree. Now, Brady Martin's interesting, right? Because you know what you want him to be and the matchups you need him to take on. So how do you, if he's with the team next year, how do you play that? I guess in a way, that's where still having O'Reilly is not a bad thing, right? Because you can kind of, even though, again, we're going to end up with O'Reilly as, like, you know, number 1 center for like 8 years in a row for the Preds.
It's like, wow, Ryan O'Reilly's 39 years old, still getting it done out there.
By the way, in the free agent market, Malkin at 39 is going to be out there. I'm just saying. But that's right. Like, he's an interesting one because it's like, do you go full throttle and just throw him to the wolves, or is it worthwhile to have him like down the line? I mean, he's going to be in the top 6 in some form or fashion if he's with the team.
Yeah.
Is it too early?
Well, I don't know. That, to me, that's totally up to him, right? Like, you know, I would be operating from the standpoint of the spot's there for you if you can take it, right? And if not, then you can pivot. Like, I'm sure, look, there'll be some depth guys you can go add out this summer. Look, if you really wanted to, I guess you could bring Eric Halla back on a 1-year deal, right? Like, it's not that big a deal. And I always say this is a broken record for me every offseason, but, you know, with the amount of assets that they have, and that's both prospects and draft picks, I'm always kind of got one eye on, all right, what's going on around the league? And is there a situation that comes up at some point, either every offseason or every couple of off seasons, where, a player's fed up being somewhere or whatever, a contract, just whatever it is that you can try to pounce on. Because, I don't know that the Predators are necessarily in the position where they need to be going out and trying to just load up or anything like that. But if you can identify a deal with the assets that you've got, then I'm always kind of looking at that. But I'm not approaching this offseason, I guess, with that expectation would be how I would view it.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. RV's a free agent too, by the way, and so is Patrick Kane. I'm looking at the free agent list right now. It's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad year for free agents.
It's an awful year for free agents.
Yeah.
It's not good. If you're expecting like some big makeover for the team to happen in free agents, I would not hold your breath with that one this offseason. Not very good.
Boone Jenner,
I like him.
Charlie Coyle. Just throwing names out
Not
there.
anymore. Not anymore. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll continue on the plan for the Predators this offseason. Some of the things that I would do if I was general manager. We'll take more of your thoughts. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Bill on the text line says, Robby's laying out the O'Reilly and Sons center group with O'Reilly, Wood, Martin, and Svechkov.
There you
Tell you
go.
what.
O'Reilly and Sons. I like it.
Svechkov better play better, and he better do it very quickly next year, or part of my plan is going to be, all right, see ya.
Well, it's, and then, is that where you want Svechkov, Is that where you want Martin?
Well, I mean, look. Svechkov at this right now, if he's going to be on the team, like he's probably going to have to be like your fourth line
He's
center.
going to have to be that.
That's just I don't know that, I think in a perfect world he could be a good third line center, right? Like it's probably what he is. He was not that this year, so it's a heck of an offseason coming up for him. I'm not giving up on him yet, but I'm also like I'm not hanging around forever. And this is the other thing too that kind of factors into all this that I think you always have to remember in these type of situations. I mean, not only is Svechkov not a Barry Trotz pick, he's a David Poile pick. I mean, so you're talking at this point 2 general managers ago, and we just see this all the time in professional sports. Look, it's not like the general manager, I don't think, is going to come in and say, well, all right, all these guys I didn't draft, so let's start to move them on out of here. That's not going to happen. Like part of, I think, the attractiveness of the job is you got a lot of young prospects that you're going to have a chance to develop here if you're one of these general managers and whoever the next coach is going to be, if that's the way they decide to go, or if you keep the coaching staff the same, like they've worked with a lot of these guys. So part of that, that's a good thing. But I do think you have to remember that like the next general manager is not going to wait around for 3 years on Fedor Svechkov to figure it out. Like it's, when you're 2 GMs removed from when you were drafted, the bottom line is like, you just don't have a whole lot of time. Like guys like him, guys like Kimmel, like they're going to have to figure it out pretty quickly or they're not going to be here anymore. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. It's like you think about coaches and it's like, oh, the new GM. Okay. So now your boss is gone or the AD's gone and you're the college coach, but the same thing for players. If you're some of your, the success of your job hinges on this player or that player making it, there's going to be more patience, right? It's just naturally how it's going to be. New GM, and it's like you're looking at everything with new eyes. So yeah, there's some guys whose clocks are getting sped up.
And look, I don't love that. To go back to that, I don't love that center group, right? Like it's not overly exciting heading into the season with O'Reilly, Wood, Martin, and Svechkov if that's the way it plays out. But like you're expecting, I think, more of what we saw at the end of the year on a full-time basis from Matthew Wood. Well, if he takes another step, like you need to have some room here for him to take a jump, and for Martin, if he's going to be on the team, to have some room to go here, right? Like if O'Reilly's there, and at this point, like my expectation is that he's going to be at least to start. And then like if I'm the new general manager, let's say that I don't sign him to a contract extension. Well, I'm keeping him on the team through the offseason at this point because, I mean, you could trade him if you wanted to, but look at that center depth. Like I think you need him to start. And then if you're out of it next offseason or by the next trade deadline, then I think you got to trade him at that point. Now, you didn't necessarily have to this last time. I probably would have, as we talked about on the show, but they didn't do it, and that's fine. Right now with where they are, with my plan of having these young guys come in there, I can see the importance of having O'Reilly around. So I would do that and then kind of reevaluate at the trade deadline. But what you're hoping with that is you've got O'Reilly there as kind of your safety blanket. And he's, my guess is, I could be wrong, I'm going to doubt Ryan O'Reilly has the same year offensively next year as he just did this year, which was the second best year of his entire career. That's probably not going to happen next year. But if he levels off at rather than 70-something points, he's at, 56 points, then you'll take that if you're the Predators, I think. But in the aggregate of that, you also need Wood to crank it up a notch or two. And you need Martin, maybe not at the start of next year if he makes the team, and under my plan he will. But if he makes the team, as the year goes on, I think you're going to see him get better and better to the point where hopefully hopefully by the end of next year. And if this doesn't happen, this would be where it's disappointing to me. Hopefully by the end of next year, you're looking at their center group and you're saying, all right, Ryan O'Reilly, if he's still here, he ain't their number one center anymore. He's downshifted. And either Wood or Martin, or hopefully both, have kind of stepped into a situation where you feel comfortable putting them in some of those matchups. That would be the hope. That's why you do something like this.
Yeah, multiple people on the YouTube chat saying, Ethan says Martin isn't ready. The guy's barely averaging a point per game in junior and needs seasoning his shots.
People got to look past the barely averaging a point per game stuff.
Remember, he was hurt this year.
He was hurt this year. Martin's been fine when he's been playing in junior. And again, it's going to be more than just the point per game stuff. Like Luke Evangelista put up 100 points in junior. It's more than just that. So you got to look at the whole picture of it. I think. Look, he made the team out of camp this year. He wasn't ready to play in the NHL. Maybe he's not ready to play in the NHL next year, and we'll see what happens with that.
Definitely, you should not just dismiss it.
But I wouldn't dismiss it. He's a number 5 overall pick. He's had another year to grow physically. Going back to when he did make the team out of camp, I think that's probably a pretty valuable 2 or 3 weeks that he was around the team, kind of seeing what needs to happen. And yeah, I think there's a decent shot that he'll be on the team to start next year.
Yeah, and I just Scott Wheeler's analysis of really looking closely at him that we read on the show a couple weeks ago, and that talked me into it a lot more.
Well, everybody on the YouTube chat saying Martin's not ready. How do you know? How do you know Martin's not ready to play in the NHL? I mean,
yeah.
Again, maybe he's not.
We're fast forwarding to the summer right now.
It's training camps in September, so again, there's a lot of time between now and then to continue to get ready. And look, frankly, to me, he doesn't have to be ready to play 21 minutes a night against Connor McDavid. I need him to be ready to make the team and grow and develop. And look, as people have brought up, they're trying to figure out something with this AHL junior stuff right now, that maybe there's a deal that gets made that says, hey, he can play in the AHL. I think that would actually be great if he could play in the AHL maybe for a month or two next year, and then you bring him up. But we'll see what happens with all that and what becomes official with all that. So until that happens, I guess I can't operate that way.
And again, you just don't know. I mean, I think he could stick and be capable. And I know a lot of Preds fans, especially if things are going to sort of shake out the way it looks like they might in terms of the overall competitiveness of the team, that's a big draw, or non-draw if he's not there.
Well, again, the free agent class is not great this offseason. There's always a trade that could prop up that you could involve yourself in, but it's hard to sit there and predict that on April the 15th as to what random trade is going to pop up and be available this offseason. So you always keep your eye on that, but it's not a great free agent class where you could look out there and say, yeah, let's just overhaul the team. And they're going to have some cap space, and my guess is they probably ain't going to use all the cap space this offseason. And I know that would frustrate some people, but I also think you can't just go out there and sign guys for the heck of signing them because you got cap space.
That's what bad teams do.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Ryan in Mount Juliet to the program. Ryan, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. I like the idea of Riley Wood and Svechkov, but I've watched Martin thanks to Flow Sports. You can watch all OHL games, AHL games. Been watching him. He is not ready. He is
based on what?
Physically ready.
How is he not? You watch the OHL games and you don't think he's physically ready? He's the most physical player in the league.
Yeah, but he's playing against. He's not playing against.
Okay, but you can't go to the OHL games where he's the most physical player in the league and then determine he's not ready physically. That makes no sense.
How do you project that?
I would rather see them go and buy out CERN and bring CERN over from the KHL.
CERN's not coming. He's got another year on the KHL. He's not getting out of that contract.
But I don't think he's ready. It's kind of like another Evangelista situation. He is going to be undersized. He's going to be thrown around just like Evangelista was his first year. He needs more time to develop his body.
Oh, well, maybe. I mean, you could be right. Well, all I'm saying is, I don't know how you could watch that now in the OHL where he's literally like the most physical player in the league and then come away with that conclusion. He may not be ready for the NHL. But anybody who's watching the OHL games right now and saying, oh, well, physically he can't be ready for the NHL. I don't know how you possibly come to that conclusion.
It's a lot of projection.
Yeah. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game. Teed up with us at the 5th annual 615 Open coming up May the 28th at Hermitage Golf Course. We are supporting Folds of Honor to help them fund life-changing scholarships for families of America's fallen heroes. You can register now to play or sponsor at 615open.com. Taking your thoughts on the Preds at 615-737-1025. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in Tim to the program. Tim, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Morning, guys. We talked about Martin a while ago. When we say he made the team, he didn't really make the team last year. They kept him on for those, 10 games or whatever it is, and then you can decide whether or not he has to go down. That's the only reason they did that. They didn't think he could make it for, then.
But a lot of guys don't even get that, though. You understand that, right?
I agree with you. But they wanted to see how he would stack up. And my other question is, have we ever had, other than David Legwan, a first-round pick that has played from day one?
Seth Jones did.
I don't think we have.
Yeah, Seth Jones got drafted 4th overall, and he played right after being drafted. So, yeah.
Scott Hartnell
did. Yeah, they've had a couple,
okay.
but not many, to your point.
No, and not because, it seems like everybody else in the league gets those players that first-round draft picks, no matter where they're at, and they start day one. And I don't know if maybe our scouts are looking at more long-term than they are. I don't know. But it just seems like we just don't get those players until 3 or 4 years, and by the end, you done forgot them.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Tim. Well, the part of that I think is going to be really, really interesting here. When the new general manager comes in, what happens with the kind of the structure of the organization? They've had a lot of scouts around here that have been here for a while, right? Like they've had a lot of people, and it's just, a lot of people in the front office have been around for a while. So what does that look like when the new GM comes in terms of like, do they, is the scouting department left alone for the most part? Do they come in and, kind of gradually change that out? I don't know. That's going to be really interesting to see what that part of it looks like. In terms of the first round pick stuff, like they have not had a ton of guys that have been drafted and then immediately played on the team. Now, they've also, as we've discussed, not had a ton of high draft picks, right? So when you don't have a ton of high draft picks and you're drafting 18-year-olds, very few of them are ready to play immediately in the NHL. So we'll see on the Brady Martin front. Again, Brady Martin may not be ready to play next year. I just take issue with he's not going to be ready to play because I watch him in the OHL and he's not physical enough. It's like, well, he's the most physical player in the league. So if he ain't ready to play, nobody in the league is ready to play.
He needs to be just checking people over the glass, ragdolling everybody. And on the caller there, I'm trying to look this up, but it's less. It's less than half of first rounders who play right away the next season. So,
it's way less than half.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to say this year there was 5
top
that started the first.
That started right away.
Yeah.
Radulov was close to playing early on.
Yeah.
And the Preds, of course, found a way to get screwed over by that whole KHL contract thing. It's the last one, and they changed the rule.
Yeah.
But that whole situation, of course, he was a first round pick, 21 or something like that. He kind of could have almost panned out.
Yeah. And like I said, Seth Jones, he got drafted 4th overall in 2013, and he just immediately played. And I think he started that year with Shea Weber.
That's
for a little bit
impressive. Redemption says that actually Legwan had a junior for a year.
Yeah.
So
Legwan
got up. Caller.
I think Legwan got up maybe at the end of that first year, and then he was up from after that. But they've not had a ton of guys that have been drafted. Frankly, they've not had a ton of guys who got drafted and they were ready the next year, right? Like it hasn't happened a lot in the organization. That doesn't mean that Brady Martin can't happen. And look, frankly, when you draft guys,
it's way different than other sports.
It's way different than other sports.
Baseball and hockey are different.
But when you draft somebody 5th overall, you probably expect them to be ready quicker than some of these other guys.
Yeah, no, that is fair. You knew some of those other guys were going to play right away. James on the YouTube chat said, I'm with Adam Vingan on this. This team will never get better until they're willing to take a step back and get the guys ready to build around. But yeah, we talked about this for years. I don't know if Vingan is still beating that drum, but again, it's okay, well, maybe next year if they do your plan, they may take a big step back. They may have a pretty decent shot of getting, the top pick.
Maybe
in the lottery. It's possible.
Look, let's say they go my way and they've got these young guys, particularly at center coming in, but you're filling out your lineup with LaRue and Kimmel. You still got Forsberg, you still got Stamkos, you still got O'Reilly, you still got Yossi. Shea's not going anywhere, and I know people are going to try to start talking about that contract. That contract ain't going anywhere right now. So he's going to be playing for you for the next few years.
Get excited.
your goalie tandem, like I would keep Saros and Onanen together and just roll in with that.
Just make Saros
next
the
year.
backup.
Well, maybe see how it goes. Start next year. Be an expensive backup.
Yeah.
But like my point is, like you're still going to have some veteran, like Stamkos just scored 40. Forsberg's on the doorstep of 40. Like you're going to have some guys that are going to be playing important roles for you. But at some point, you got to have these young guys step into some of these roles, right? To figure out what they are. And, Wood and Martin are the two I'm focused on specifically right now in terms of just how important I think they're going to be moving forward. But some of these other guys that are kind of on the edge of what are they? Like, what is Kimmel? I don't know what Kimmel is right now. And I need to find that out next year. Or you don't have to all the way figure it out, but you need to start seeing some signs. Like if you get to the end of next year and you've not seen much more from Kimmel than you've seen to this point, well, then you probably know at that point. It's time to move on. Like LaRue needs to take a step. So Svechkov, look, Svechkov, it was laid out for him this year to take that step. He didn't do it. So can he do it next year? To me, if he hadn't done it by about like December next year, I think the new general manager is going to be looking at, well, look at all these other guys we got coming. Why am I wasting my time on Svechkov, who was drafted 2 GMs ago? Like people think that that's too short to give up on somebody, and maybe it is, but I'm just telling you, it's how sports work. When you get new people coming in your organization, they're not going to have a lot of time and patience for guys that they didn't draft. They're just not.
And the reality is that if Kimmel doesn't really take a big step, then he's kind of like a lot of the forwards that have been chosen by this organization in recent years.
Yeah.
It's just so then as a new GM, you probably look at that and say, there's something missing here, and we have to move on.
Also, the Preds could lose this next game here. And let's say you can finish like 10th or something. Maybe you get some luck in the lottery. They've never had any luck in the lottery at all. They hadn't been in the lottery all that much. But last year you finished third worst record in the league. You end up picking 5th. Like they've never had that random year where it's like, oh look, Preds won the lottery. How about that?
To their credit, they haven't been, they haven't had a lot of bites at the apple because right? Like in recent years.
But
look, make the playoffs.
You could conceivably, if you lose this next game, and let's say San Jose wins their last 2, you could finish like 9th worst, and then
you have a shot at the top.
Move up a little bit, or at least move up further. Move up a couple. So I don't know. Like I just that's something that could also help. We'll see. Get those draft picks rolling in.
And as Ian pointed out,
Gavin McKenna, winger next year for the Nashville Predators.
There you go. As Ian pointed out, this would actually be set up for the showdown game because the Ducks lost.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry to bring it up.
Ducks lost last night, which means we'd be talking about a win in regulation for the Predators, and they'd be in if they just beat the Sharks. Which means like I would have been
another one of those pull the goalie in a tie game.
Like
things.
I had fully talked myself into like Monday night before the Sharks game. I was like, Ducks are going to lose. It's going to be tied with like 7 minutes left in the third period between Anaheim and Nashville on Thursday. And the Preds know they can't let the game get to overtime. So Bruno's going to have to pull the goalie with like 6 minutes left to get out there and score a goal. But we'll never know.
No.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Preds. We will do that. We got some college basketball to get into in the next hour. PK will be with us in the second half of the show. We'll get into all things Titans and NFL with him. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us in the second half of the program. And we got a lot of stuff to get into with PK, so looking forward to that. Coming up a little bit later in the show, taking your thoughts on the Preds, 615-737-1025. A lot of thoughts to roll through. Let's do that. Logan says, fans around here are used to having the same GM for 20 years who was fine with giving somebody 5 years in the AHL before they get to be our third or fourth line center. I'm dying for a superstar. Watching the Sharks the last couple of weeks has me jealous. The Sharks are on the up. Well, let me be clear. I don't always think that people taking the longer path to get to the league is a bad thing, but it doesn't have to always be that way, I guess is my point, right? Like that, you know, and again, like
Everybody would like more people who are like, oh, yeah, you're ready. Let's go.
well, let's go back to Kimmel, right? Like Kimmel is only 21 years old. And I think we forget that sometimes because it feels like he's been around forever, but he's only 21 years old. But he's 21 years old, and he is at this point played, let's see, 1-2 parts of 4 years in Milwaukee. Like he played 17 games in 22-23, 67 games in 23-24, 65 games in 24-25, and 46 games this year in Milwaukee. That's a long time. Like he's played a lot of games in the AHL. It's time for him to be ready in the NHL, right? Like it's, and again, it doesn't mean he has to go out there and score 35 goals next year, but it does mean that he's got to find some ways to impact the game. Like if he's not impacting the game next year in some way, like, you know, that shot he's got, we can all see it. He doesn't get it off very much in the NHL. Maybe that's more to do with who he's playing with. I don't know, because he's been, for the most part, playing on like the third or fourth line for the Predators. So maybe if you put him with, I don't know, somebody else, he'd be playing better. But you got to force your way kind of into that conversation. I think Matthew Wood's a good example, right? Like it wasn't a straight line for Matthew Wood this year. He started off pretty well. He's one of their best players in camp. You know, he had a hat trick earlier in the year. And then he went through a long stretch where not much was going on. Like he kind of hit a little bit of a rookie wall. He started to be kind of pushed down in the lineup. I think for a few games, he was a healthy scratch. And then he got back in. They moved him to center because of what they did at the deadline. He took off again. Like, so some of it, sometimes you got to force your way into the conversation. And they haven't had enough guys that are, some of these young guys that have forced their way into that. And they're going to need that. Like, you know, he's not necessarily a quote unquote young guy anymore, but I thought this was a really important year for Evangelista. At the end of last year, I had no idea what to expect from Evangelista because it was so bad last year. And, you know, he wasn't alone, obviously. They were the third worst team in the league, but he did not have a good year a year ago. And this year, I mean, he has 54 points. And, like, he's probably never going to be a true first-line winger, like, from the standpoint of, like, you look at him, you're like, yep, you can count on 70 points, 75 points every year from him. But 54 points this year. He's 24 years old. Like, can he get you 60 next year? Like, he played well enough where I think that that's realistic. Like, can he be a 55, 60-point guy every year? Well, if he can, that's great. I'll take that. Like, so you need more of that. Like, you need not all these guys that you've got are going to be superstar players. You're hoping Brady Martin's going to be a superstar player, right? Like, you're hoping eventually Tanner Mollendijk going to be a pretty darn good defenseman in the league. In the meantime, you need some of these other guys to move from fringe NHLer to impactful middle six player. Like that's the step I would accept from some of these guys next year. And then we can worry about the superstars, and eventually you're going to have to land a couple of those. There's no doubt. But in the meantime, like I need Kimmel to be impactful middle six guy. I need LaRue to be a really darn good third line player that brings kind of that edge that he has, but also some offensive pop to the game. Like, you need to start to see that with some of these guys.
Yeah, for sure. To the other part of that, which is, again, it's a constant theme. It's Vingan, step back and get the great, you know, we need a superstar. Yeah, I mean, look, everyone would love to have Macklin Celebrini. It's a tremendous feather in their cap. It's going to mean potentially big things for them. But it's you can't. Those guys are not there every year in the draft. They're there less years than more years than not, less years than less
I
often.
think either one is acceptable.
Yeah. Gout. Whenever I just say that's my safe word now. Whenever I just say gout, just reset.
I can see Ian adding that to the clip list right now.
The point being, like, you just can't plan to get a Celebrini. You luck out. If you stink consistently for a decade or whatever like they did, then you have a better chance. You absolute trash team year after year, then you have a better chance. You increase your odds. But you just said, well, then you worry about getting a superstar. Yeah, but it is hard. It is hard to do. There are teams that have won cups with like a lot of really good players too. I mean, obviously you want to have the McKinnon, you want to have the McDavid, but it's hard to get there. In the meantime, try to build up.
Well, I'm not saying you're not trying to get there, but you need some of these other guys to supplement, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just saying 100%. And then you hope that some of them go beyond that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you hope that Brady Martin's a great player in this league for more than a decade. That's a huge part of the hope for the Nashville Predators.
There's no doubt. And I separate him from some of these other guys. He's your top prospect in your organization. He's a number 5 overall. He needs to
become a great player.
He needs to be a great player for you. There's no doubt. And I'm not saying he's got to lead the league in scoring, but he needs to be a great player for you.
He may never be Celebrini, but again, even 9 years ago now, and he wasn't this. He was pretty darn good the next year too. He had a really good stretch. But like what Ryan Johansson was for this team,
that is top level.
You're winning matchups against the best centers in the league in the playoffs. That's so you want that, but you want 10 plus years of it, and maybe even a little bit better.
You want it a little bit better, and you want it more often in the regular season. There's a lot of things you want with that, but I would still contend. I'd have to go back through it and really, really double check it and look at it, but I'm fairly comfortable saying this. I would still contend that the highest level of center play that they have ever gotten in the history of their organization was him in that 2017 run until he got hurt, obviously. But he was unbelievable.
He was fantastic.
He totally dominated Jonathan Toews in that series. And I said it time and time again, and, we can have the debate about what's most important in order to win in hockey. And, a lot of people will answer you got to have a goalie, right? And we've had that discussion. But if you can't get center ice figured out, it's just, especially with where the league's going, you're just not going to win. You're not going to win all these matchups. You don't have to be, player for player better than Connor McDavid. You don't have to be player for player better than Nathan McKinnon, but you got to be able to hang in there. You got to be able to hang in there with him. And then as your team develops, have more firepower to help support you. But you got to be able to, if you can't hang in there with those guys, you just give yourself no shot in the playoffs.
And of course, maybe hope your goalie's better than the other team's goalie if it's close enough or whatever. I mean, the Preds decor was their superpower in that run. John says the problem is next year top pick is defenseman Landon DuPont. Amazing skater, offensive defenseman, plays like Makar. Well, let me tell you something. If you get Cale Makar part 2, you'll take that too.
Well, they need.
Not saying he is, but of course that's people are going to make. Any guy like this going to get a Makar comparison.
Well, I remember when we were talking about the Predators potentially landing the number 1 overall pick last year, and I tried to make the point at the time. I was like, I know a lot of you are going to be mad, but if they land the number 1 overall pick, they need to draft Matthew Schaefer. And it was a whole lot of. No, I mean, you can't do that. They got to have a center. Well, go look at Matthew Schaefer this year.
Yeah.
He's going to end up being the best defenseman in the league, or at least in the short handful of best defensemen in the league within the next 2 years. He's been unbelievable as a rookie.
And that totally, that was a great discussion, great point. And that is where we talk about comparing, Martin to Higgins. If Porter Martone ends up being a great player, just a monster winger, then you can still look at that and say that's where you just take the best player, right?
Yeah.
Again, I think the comparison for Brady Martin is Higgins is because you were probably
You're
going to
in
draft a
position,
center. But yeah, like if you let go a winger who ends up being unbelievable, well, then we can complain about that too.
Yep. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Keep your thoughts coming on the Preds. We got some college basketball news to get into. PK will be with us in the second half of the program. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Today, the Nashville Sounds taking on the Red Sox at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. Not the Boston Red Sox. Worcester? Is that how we say this? I got fried yesterday for how I said it. Is it Worcester?
Worcester.
Worcester?
Worcester.
Worcester. The Red Sox. That is not how that's spelled. That's what we're going with.
I had a hell of a weekend in Worcester once.
Did you?
Yeah, it was an NCAA tournament site 21 years ago. God,
Okay.
we tore up Worcester, man.
Well, Worcester, they're taking on
Worcester's
the
underrated.
Sounds. First pitch at 6:35. You can catch all the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Family Leisure.
What basketball gym do
It's
they
Social
have
Cantina.
there for the tournament?
Yeah, it's a hockey arena, I believe. So
Of course it is.
yeah, and I'm not sure what is in Worcester, hockey wise, but they had it's like a solid 15,000 seat arena. You know, it was good.
Okay.
It was a good arena. Yeah,
Okay.
all down there, all downtown. Nice
Worcester has
Marriott
got
downtown.
the Railers. That's a hockey team. ECHL.
The Railers.
The Railers.
There you go. We watched some hoops in the home of the Railers.
Yeah, there you go.
It was fun.
I think yesterday I said what I don't even remember what I said yesterday. What my pronunciation was, but it wasn't
Worcester?
Did you?
Yeah.
It was like
Worcester?
Worcestershire.
Worcester?
Yeah.
Well,
I was
just like Worcestershire
I was
sauce, you
what
know?
is that? Somebody in the text line was like, "What did you say?" I was like, "Dude, I have no idea. I have no idea what I said at all."
Was that person from Lebanon, Tennessee?
Well, maybe
Or
Severville.
Severed Headville? Sevierville.
Yeah.
God.
Shout out to our listeners in Sevierville.
Yes.
Paul Kuharsky will be with us in the second half of the program, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. It appears to be going well for Rick Barnes in the portal part of this. We talked about how aggressive Tennessee was going to be in terms of the transfer portal heading into this offseason. What do you make of what Rick Barnes and the Vols have done to this point?
Well, they had the number one class in the portal, for whatever that's worth. But
Yeah.
you keep constant track of this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go to right now. I believe that they're number 2 now because Louisville the other day, and boy, Stille was he took a little break from his bizarre obsession, but he texted me the other day and he was just all like talking, should I get Final Four tickets because Louisville got Floyd Badunga from Kansas, the number 1 player in the athletic rankings anyway, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, and then they got Jackson Shellstad from Oregon. So that's a massive. And I've heard some numbers on the combination. Don't know. I'm not comfortable reporting them, but my goodness, Louisville is they are not messing around. So we'll see if that continues. I mean, they lost basically their whole team, which is what happens a lot. But so that bumped the Vols to second or so. They got, but Day Ames, I think I'm saying that right, not Die. I think it's Day from Cal. At guard, they got Lundblade we've talked about from Belmont, and then Miles Rubin, a big man from Loyola. So Rubin kind of fills the the big, kind of rim protecting, lob guy inside. Now you've got a shooter and you've got 2 guards. So I mean, how good is that all going to come together? I don't know. There's still work to do, and they're in on, supposedly they are in a battle with Michigan and North Carolina right now for Juke Harris. Juke Harris, high scoring wing from Wake Forest, who might be commanding a heck of a number. So Evan Miyakawa, who does has a site. He does a really good job. He had a piece, I think yesterday, that essentially it's like 65% increase on the portal, and the bigs in particular are just because we just watched Michigan win with a super jumbo lineup, so everyone's wanting to pay the big. So these centers out there are commanding huge numbers, and there's bidding wars, and here we go, more and more money. What's funny?
No, I'm just.
You just watching me talk basketball as
a lot
a
of
pig
you're
and slop.
enjoying talking college basketball.
Portal
and
season.
I'm just thinking about all this money they're spending on basketball, and they could just be getting up all these football players.
Well, yeah. Well, they should definitely not.
Looking around like, wow, Don't have any edge rushers.
Yeah. Well, they did pay an edge rusher, I think, a lot of money.
Couldn't get a quarterback to come in there and commit. Jeez. All right. Cool.
So you're blaming Rick Barnes is what if the
I would
football
never-
team
I
has a
would never
tough
blame Rick
season.
Barnes for
yeah,
anything.
yeah, you can't get mad at Rick. So it's a good start. I mean, can I look at this team next year and project? I mean, there's more work to do. Now, if they get like a Juke Harris, okay, now that's some big time. Then they've really swapped out like some good perimeter players, but who like you got to have more offensive firepower. I think I was a little bit, spent quite a bit of time with the Vols, especially in Chicago. In Chicago they were there, and so you have like open locker room every day and I talked to Jalen Carey quite a bit, and I did something on Rick Barnes, and it's just strange like talking to him about everything and being able to play for him and how he pushes people and all these things. Then he's like, yeah, I'm going to Missouri.
Yeah.
Now,
I'll see you later.
Now, something to keep in mind, it was a kind of disappointing season for Jalen Carey.
Yeah.
Now, he had some good moments. He was actually very good in the Iowa State game. He just matchup wise, they couldn't deal with him, especially with their power forward not being in the game. So he was excellent in that game. He was not excellent this season. It was a little bit disappointing after coming from Vanderbilt. You always remember with some of these things, we always think about the players leaving. Sometimes it's a player who was encouraged to leave is leaving. And that's certainly the case with some of these guys who left Tennessee, not Estrella. But still kind of. So Jalen Carey, he's just going to end up in the whole SEC East, at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. RIP the SEC East. One texter says, so Joe can talk college basketball all day, but if a guy tries to talk about Deontay Foreman, everyone freaks out. More Deontay Foreman discussion.
Hey,
in this
I'm
program.
here for the discussion. I just don't want to turn him into Paul Bunyan, man. You turned Deontay Foreman into Walter Payton there. I was just maybe a little much.
Have you seen Alex's text on the text line? Because I'd love to see you try to do this.
Let's have Joe pronounce some Tennessee towns. You can start with, okay. I think that's Milan. Am I right?
I think it's Milan.
You're telling me that Santa Fe is anything but Santa Fe? Is it Santa Fe?
Santa Fe.
Oh, come on. I didn't know that there was a Santa Fe. Dude, if it's going to be Santa Fe, you have to have two E's. You can't have Santa F-E and that be Santa Fe.
Yeah, he's 0 for 2.
Okay, so here's a town that in Indiana is pronounced, so people know, is pronounced Lafayette. So here I will say it's Lafayette.
Correct.
You're correct.
Boom.
1 for 3.
Okay, I'll take 1 for 3.
Yeah. Milan, Tennessee.
Well, I said Milan.
I know, but I think one point you did come up on the show and you said Milan. I was like, yeah. Let me tell you, it's not the same place.
It's not Milan. So
Yeah.
it's Milan?
Milan.
Okay. I will remember that. I can retain some information in this brain.
615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We got more coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us a little bit later in the program.
So he's late, huh?
By Rexrode's time, he's already late.
Paul's late. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. But hey, at least we have Adam Ving in the YouTube chat. Just absolutely dominating the YouTube chat. I don't even understand what is happening in the YouTube chat, honestly. I see that Ian said something about Vingan's vindication. What is Vingan's vindication?
Ian's on the phone.
He's on the phone. Okay. Is that Paul?
I don't know. We talked about it.
Look at
maybe
this
it was
multitasker over here.
So
Look at this guy.
Maybe it was Monday, right? I don't know. It was in the YouTube chat. I was listening back to the show, and Vingan said he was vindicated about something, and I don't know. Something popped into my head. Vingan's vindication.
Oh, was that?
It's all good for
It might have been the
alliteration.
goalie situation.
Yeah, Onanen.
Yeah, it's good alliteration.
Yeah.
Was it the Onanen thing?
It could have been.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
Well, Adam,
I don't know. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but we were giving him credit for something.
I just want you guys, if when DVD's on, if at any point you hear, because I know you won't see because you won't be in the chat, that I'm like in the YouTube chat during DVD, I want you to slap me in the face. Okay. Next time you see me, I want you to just full on bitch slap me. Okay.
Flip it. Kuiper has his latest mock draft. You'll be stunned to know he's got Jeremiah Love going to the Titans at number 4. It is interesting. All I'm seeing now is David Bailey, number 2 to the Jets. It's like Bailey, number 2 to the Jets, and Arvell Reese, number 3 to the Cardinals. So that's how he goes. There's the idea, and I think Jordan Schultz threw this out there maybe a week ago, of like, I guess the expectation being that this could be one of the more trade heavy drafts in recent memory. I feel like we hear that every year.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's you better watch out for this draft. It's gonna be a lot of trades in the first round, and then you roll through and ain't very many trades that happen. Sometimes we get some, but I feel like we hear that every year where it's like, there's be a lot of trades in the first round of this draft.
I agree. And I feel like a lot of years we hear, but the quarterback draft next year is going to be amazing. And then it's like Lenora Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, Drew Aller. A year ago, it's like, whoa, what a haul. And this year, it's like, I don't know, 5th round.
Yeah.
Bingen says,
Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, Kate. I mean, my God. Where are these guys going to go? Bingen says, don't police me. I'm just a little worried about you, man. Just a little worried about you. There's got to be something better to do than be in the YouTube chat. Now, when we're doing the show, I love the YouTube chat. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Okay, so Texter says, this will blow Joe's mind. People from Lafayette, Tennessee, which is what I just said, pronounce it Lafette.
Yeah, they just roll through it quickly.
Lafayette, Tennessee?
They're saying Lafayette. It's just the way you.
So it's more like Lafayette.
Yeah, it's just
more Lafayette.
Yeah, it just goes quick. Yeah.
Not Lafette, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't stress the Fett. It's just like Lafayette.
Josh from Lebanon was excited because he actually is apparently not from Lebanon. He's actually from the other town that's hard to pronounce if you're not from here, which is Lafayette, which he says Lafayette is right.
Yeah, Lafayette.
Okay. Glad we got that taken care of.
Seaverville. Head on out to the Smoky Mountains. Good old Seaverville, Tennessee out there. Nice Buc-ee's out there.
Yeah.
No free ads.
So I guess I don't know that one. I know the one that's like in Crossville. I've hit that's the one I've hit probably.
Have you not
I've hit the Crossville
as a Tennessean now for a decade? Have you not spent much time up there in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, all that stuff?
I think I'm the only person in my family, immediate family, that like hasn't actually done, a cabin of some kind.
Okay.
So I haven't done that. Now I've been out there. I've done all Brennan I think has had soccer and he's had 7-on-7 football out there. So I've stayed out there. We've driven all of it, seen all of it, gone to just about every chain restaurant you could possibly go to. So all that stuff, but I haven't done the actual like staying in a cabin thing.
Okay.
I would. I also haven't done Dollywood yet, which is actually ridiculous. That's got to change this year.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Cabins loves to do those cabins.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You love to do the cabins?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
No, are the other family members of mine who have done it with other people and not invited me all like it too. So
Adam in Portland asking how we say Lebanon and Louisville. That's how I say it. Lebanon, Louisville.
yeah, I mean, I
think Joe is Louisville.
I've adjusted from Louisville to
Lebanon.
a little bit more Louisville, right? But some people I think are like Louisville. I'm a little still more like Louisville, not Louisville.
That was good. Louisville.
Louisville. Yeah. But yes, I used to say Louisville.
Louisville. Mike from Pennsylvania saying, love that area. Well, we come from outside Pittsburgh for a week and a half every summer. I dream of the Dollywood cinnamon bread. Cinnamon bread at Dollywood's legit. People
Okay.
like stand in line for it.
Okay. Noted.
I
My
actually
parents went
also
up there,
haven't been to Dollywood either. So
My parents went up there a few weeks ago, not to Dollywood, but I guess there's a place near it that also sells it. Brought home some cinnamon bread. Ate that whole thing in a day. Me and the wife.
Wow.
Mostly me.
Impressive. So, by the way, we are getting an amusement park in Nashville again, right?
Isn't it Nate Land? Isn't Bargatze opening something?
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay, good. People are keep asking about these towns: Eagleville, Maryville, Shovelville, right?
Yeah.
Basically,
You
yeah.
nailed it.
Not Eagleville, Maryville. I got it. It's only taken a decade. I got it. I mean, I'm basically an original now around here, living here for a decade, right?
You know, somebody says,
Pretty
I don't know
close.
if Gout and Gatlinburg are a very good mix. It's a lot of walking.
Gautlenberg. I could absolutely
Gatlinburg, ladies and gentlemen.
I could absolutely turn that place into Gautlenberg in about half a day. Okay. There's plenty of beer and red meat.
There's
I don't know if
Good
I don't know if
supply
I'm eating the shellfish out there, but the beer and red meat.
plenty of
Absolutely.
supply up there. Grief.
Okay. Dennis says outsiders always pronounce Mount Juliet incorrectly. Mount Juliet,
They always say Mount Juliet. They
Oh.
really, they're like Mount Juliet.
But it's Mount
like,
Juliet.
nah. Yeah, it's Mount Juliet.
it's not like Mount Juliet. Like you can actually say the word Juliet.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a whole lot of like, I think people have started doing.
the whole Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like
they
I've,
Yeah.
kinda just
I've
go with
started to
that.
do the.
Yeah, that's
uh,
annoying. Everybody should know that.
I've seen the like there are people making like AI commercials too now that I've seen, and it's like Mount Juliet. And I'm like, well, I know you're not from here, or I know that you're not a real person because you're not saying it right.
Murray County too. Maury is Murray, and Santa Fe in Murray County.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Santa
think we
Fe.
got this pretty much.
Santa Fe got yeah.
Santa Fe kind of throws me for a loop, man. Like I'm sorry, just put an extra E on it. If you want it to be Santa Fe, put another E. Like that's what it is. English language, like one E is not an E sound, right? It's not a long E.
How have we taken this long to come up with Gautlenberg? This is unbelievable. This should have happened years ago.
I mean, I think that we should have a sponsored trip to Gautlenberg and see how long it takes for my foot to turn into a big red balloon. Just give me a beer hat and I'll walk around town.
Rexrode can't walk anymore. There's a bear coming down the street.
I'm hopping away from the bear with my big beer hat.
Have you seen these idiots in Gatlinburg that like the bear? You know, there are all sorts of black bears running around there because it is what it is. You're in the mountains, but they're relatively used to people, like because they're running down the street in Gatlinburg. But people go up and like try to pet it. Like you're an idiot. It's still a bear.
That's like how drunk are you?
Yeah.
What else could it
Like
be?
they're probably not going to hurt you if you just leave them alone because
Probably
they're going
not.
to look for food.
But leave them alone.
You get over there and you start touching them. Like there's this video on TikTok a couple weeks ago. This dude, right downtown Gatlinburg, just in the middle of the street, walking up trying to touch one, and the black bear just turns around and just growls at it. It's like, yeah, you idiot, it's a bear.
It's a freaking bear. Adam in Portland says, I instantly dry heaved when I heard the word Gautlenberg. Gautland is the name
How
of
do you
Joe's
pronounce
amusement park.
There's a town that has connection to my family. How do you Erin? How do you pronounce that?
I've seen there's people that have texted us from there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say Erin.
You nail it.
Yes. Okay, not Aaron.
Not Aaron. Erin.
Erin. It's like it's almost like people are going out of the way, like, you know what? Most people around the world would read the English this way. Let's flip it around. Let's flip the vowel sounds around and screw with everybody's head. Logan says Joe pronounced Suggma County. Okay, well, I'm not gonna
know that one.
I'm assuming it's not gonna be Sugma, so I'll say Sugme.
I don't know.
Do we know? You don't know
I
that one?
I don't know that one. Yeah,
Are you making stuff up now, people?
I don't know that one. Kevin's saying there's no beer at Dollywood, so no thanks. They do not have beer there, I don't think. Dollywood is a
dry
place for
amusement park?
families. I can't confirm that.
You telling me that
I've never gone looking
I
for
have to
beer at
smuggle
Dollywood.
in little baby bottles of liquor?
Take a group trip to Gatlinburg. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode 102.5 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
1025 The Game. You come for sports takes, you stay for gout updates.
And he's gout.
The runner, gout.
Maybe someday you could be like me and get gout.
The start crucial here for gout.
Gout is mental. No, it is not mental.
I challenge people to text us funnier diseases.
Congenital heart disease, more like congenital heart disease.
Would you rather have foot pain, gout, or torn up stomach?
Let's get back to my feet. Gross, my toes.
Gout gets up alongside of him. Gout's in front.
Maybe if you have gout in both feet.
It both entertains and disgusts me.
Just eat it.
Hell yeah, Weird Al.
It is time for the Rex Rant, brought to you by Rapid Response Generators. Power when it matters the most. Check them out today at rapidresponsegenerators.com. Joe, the floor is yours with that amazing mashup in the background.
Wow. All the gout, and then you get into Weird Al Eat It. I don't know what exactly I'm supposed to take from that.
The Australian play-by-play. This is a big one for gout. It gets me every time.
Amazing. And also, who was the who did the Sugma thing? SUGGMA County. Come on, man. This is like
that was a good one.
There was something on CNN long time ago, and it was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was like a man on the street of some news event happened, and they quoted him, and he gave them his name, which was Haywood Jablom. Jablome. That seriously happened. That actually happened on television. Haywood Jablom. You go ahead and, interpret as you will. That these things happen. You almost got me. Sugma. How about that? All right, this is actually supposed to be a serious topic here, which I mean, really, I am disappointed PK's not here. We can get into more of this with PK. Make this very, make this very simple. My former coworker Diana Rossini resigned yesterday from the Athletic. This has been a firestorm for the last week. Like, I could turn this rant into, there's so many layers to this, including the people who were shocked that I wouldn't go on the air and start speculating about a coworker's personal crap. Like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, in fact, I think I should go on a muting. Just rampage right now. Let's see. Let me see some of these. Here's a comment from GZT. Okay, the people
is that a person?
In my mentions. Well, I mean, it's like people don't put their actual real name. Right. Says, LOL, Rexrode is afraid to touch it. He spends hours during football season making fun of Vrabel for smoking cigarettes, breaking up training camp fights, etc., and hasn't said anything about the biggest NFL story of the week. Yes, let's equate this to some jokes about Vrabel smoking cigarettes, you jackass. Here, you're muted. And, oops, I messed it up.
Did you follow him?
Yeah. I starred all of his. Oh, wait. Oh my God. So I muted him, and now we've already
This ain't going well.
So if you mute someone, it sends you back up to the top. Okay. Wreck-It Ran at the Fickness 1985. Again, a person who's too cowardly to put the actual name on something. Yeah, at Joe Rex Show. Blink twice if the Athletic put a gag order on it. No, the Athletic didn't say anything to anybody about saying anything about it because most people have freaking common sense, you jackass. You're muted. This is really good radio.
Yeah, it is.
Mute. Okay. Why does it send you back to the front? Really a problem with Twitter. I know that's the biggest problem with Twitter right now. I'm going back through all the gout. Thank you for everybody who tweeted at me about gout. Yeah. Dylan Morris, at least someone who puts their real name on. Agreed. I understand Joe and Diana are coworkers, but not even acknowledging a huge story is pretty weak. Okay. It's a story. Now there's a news element to it because Diana has resigned. Unfortunately, Diana, who was a great coworker and a friend, and the entire episode is terrible. And when these pictures came out, which apparently, the pictures came out that caused a firestorm, The first thing I thought of was the people in this situation on both sides of the coin, Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, who have done nothing wrong and have had a big load of manure dumped on them, which mostly I think about kids on both sides of the situation.
Yeah.
But hey, let's stop anybody from turning this into just good old fun on social media. Let's have a good old time with this. Look, there's a lot of layers to this, and I think we can spend some time with PK if he ever shows up today. Hi, PK. Show's going on. And we can talk about the reporter source aspect of it. I have a lot of things I can say about that, and we've talked about it before. We've talked about the insider, culture of sports at this point, and there's a lot you can talk about with the relationships. I think that could be an interesting conversation. But no, I was never going to sit there and speculate about some photos about my coworker. Again, I think it's a terrible situation. And I don't know. I don't know anything. A lot of people think they know. I don't know. If you know, good for you. Then you're smarter than me. I don't know. I know how they looked, and I know that there's a lot of conversation about it and a lot of people getting trashed. And again, some people's lives adversely affected to a severe point, some of whom have done nothing wrong. And that's probably the thing that bothers me the most about this is, and I understand social media is just, if you want to go there and use that as an example of humanity, then, you're going to be highly disappointed in humanity. But it's still incredible, including some of the people who have capitalized this and this absolutely just gone off the deep end, turning themselves into some kind of sex gossip show, which disgusts me. And I won't spend much more time on that. That's about all I have to say right now. But again, we can talk about the bigger picture implications if PK ever shows up today. Maybe he's in Lebanon.
Not technically.
Or Sugmay County.
I'd like to point out, not technically late yet.
Well, but there's an expectation, right? I mean, it's an unwritten rule that PK gets here by 7:30.
615-737-1025, our phone number. He will be late if he's not here in 5 minutes. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com will be with us coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on this situation. We'll get his thoughts on all things Tennessee Titans, the passing of Dave McGinness. We got a lot of things to get into with PK over the next hour. We welcome your Titans questions at 615-737-1025, our phone number. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is with us on the program for the next hour, presented by Sealmaster, keeping your parking lots looking brand new. PK, good morning. How are you?
I am well. How are we doing?
Outstanding.
We're doing great.
Good to see you. I have a few thoughts on what I listened to on my way in.
Okay.
Oh, are you? Oh, you were near. You were close.
Yes.
Good. You were listening to the radio.
Listen.
Good for you.
It's pronounced Lafayette. It's the Marquis de Lafayette. He fought with Washington. He's a big part of the whole revolutionary thing. If you say
Marquis de Lafayette,
if you say
D Lafayette, Marquis de Lafayette.
If you say Lafayette, it's cut and dried. You're mispronouncing it. You've bastardized the name.
The guy who says huge has spoken on word pronunciations.
Look,
Thank you.
I have a quirky pronunciation of huge. That's fun.
See, he just said it with an H and it was fine.
I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
But it's not hard for you, so why don't you just say it correctly?
We're changing the subject.
It's a regional thing.
Well,
Lafayette.
no, you're going to start ripping people for how they pronounce words.
Not
and
Lafayette.
You have to answer for your own
That's a
things.
strict mispronunciation.
Okay.
Unquestionable. And everybody that says it that way, it just shows themselves to be a fool.
How do you say Sugma?
I don't even know what that's about. On this other thing, Joe, if you had just merely, you're so cautious and so afraid, why couldn't you have just said, this is a complicated story that involves a coworker and a friend of mine, and I'm not comfortable speaking about it at this time. If you had said that, people would have backed off of you. But you're so nervy. No, we're not going to talk about this. This is something we're not talking about. Behind the scenes, you said that, and on the air, you said nothing.
To you,
and so
because you're a jackass.
And to me, that's fine.
Because
to me,
you are a jackass,
on the
and I
air-
don't trust your jackassery on the air. That's why I said it to you. Robbie and I never had that conversation.
But on the air, you said, I believe, nothing, which made everybody think, well, Joe is somehow in odd support of
what
this
a
or
crime!
has some-
What a crime to not address these photos in the New York Post.
But why can't you just say so? I mean, they are photos, Joe.
So
I
you
mean, they weren't illustrations.
You listen to every single second of our show?
I don't.
Do you know that what you're saying is true?
I'm asking you. Did you address it?
No, you didn't ask me. You just stated it as if it were fact.
Well, because our conversations made it pretty clear you were not going to address it.
Yeah, the next day I absolutely did not want to get in with you because I don't trust you at all.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, it's not ridiculous. You go overboard all the time, and you love to put people in a position of getting in trouble with their freaking employer. No. Yes. Absolutely.
I have no interest in you being in trouble with the Athletic.
I think you have a
But
high
I also
interest.
think it's an absolutely ridiculous thing that the Athletic would have, and I don't believe they would have a problem with you saying, knowing that you have a second
I
job,
have no idea.
you saying, I'm in an uncomfortable
They never
position
said
here.
a word to me or to anybody. I have no idea if they'd have a problem with it. I didn't want to deal with it.
You're scared to death of it.
Sure.
Which is fine. But you could say, they're not going to fire you if you say, I understand people would like us to discuss this. I'm uncomfortable doing so. It's a coworker. It's hazy stuff. And so we're not going to touch it. That's like 3 sentences. What would have been the problem with that? You'd think that's going to get you in trouble?
No, I don't.
So why couldn't you have said that?
Who cares that I didn't?
Well, your audience wanted to hear from you on it.
Oh, did they?
So-
That would have been such a great thing to do. That would have been a huge moment to say, hey, I don't want to talk about this. Okay.
A
So
difference
anyway,
between
how are the
something-
Preds doing tonight? Shut up.
A difference between something and nothing is significant. Yes.
I mean, the things that you find to whine about, truly amazing.
We have a texture that says, do we think we could get in a question about Trey Avery right now?
Someone says we should get married.
Hard pass. I don't want to care for somebody with gout.
Adam says, after the way Paul just pronounced Lafayette, I would not trust him either.
I think that you take care of my gout well.
Lafayette is, I would feed you shrimp and lobster.
Just see how big it could get.
Meat.
See how big the foot could get.
Blindfold yourself here. I've got some really tasty food that's going to help your gout.
There you go. Let's welcome in Dustin in Hopkinsville to the program. Dustin, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. So I don't like to insert myself into drama, but this morning I'm going to. And Joe, me and you always don't see eye to eye, but buddy, I got you back on this one. It's just dang good morals. Don't be a sleazy asshole, Paul.
How am I being a sleazy bleep hole here? It's a big, significant media ethics conversation to be had there. To not touch it at all is a disservice to audience that was eager to talk about.
Okay, Paul, that's fine. You've made your point. You wish that I would have said, guys, something happened. There's some photos. I don't want to talk
No,
about it.
I wish you would have
You
said
wish
more
I
than
would
that,
have.
but I know that you
Okay.
lacked the
I
gumption to
didn't do
so.
it. Are we going to spend the rest of the show bitching about
The
it?
caller just asked about it. What do you want me to ignore the caller?
Oh, yeah. But the caller
I
brought
have
it
to
up.
respond to the caller.
I didn't do it. I don't feel the least bit bad about not doing it. I don't care what you think. So we can move on and talk about things or not.
Okay, we're showing that Joe's not self-reflective at all. Doesn't look back on his work with any consideration, and we're learning more about him. That's fine.
Let's head back to our
Okay.
phone line. Welcome in Ryan to the program. Ryan, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
What's going on, PK? How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Though talking about Coach Mack, I've never met a more down-to-earth human being than Coach Mack. When I worked at the competitor station, he paid for a meal for my blind date, and he definitely lived out the verse, "Let so your light shine for others to see, that they might see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." He definitely lived out that verse. I don't know whether he's a Christian or not, but I could definitely feel his spirit for sure. So Coach Mack will definitely be missed, and I was going to kind of get your take on who you think should be the next color analyst.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And listen, when Frank was, I would say, eased out, he wouldn't of that job, and they did a very, very thorough. They had a meeting where they threw like every name they could think of out on the table, in their efforts that landed them Coach Mack, and I imagine they would be having a meeting like that now. I know, names like Bullock will probably be at the forefront of that, but I don't know if a guy like Keith is going to want to do the full-timey elements of that.
Yep.
When he's an entrepreneur and a businessman, and I think likes, not speaking for him, but I think likes the flexibility to be with his daughters and to come and go as he pleases. And I think it's a really hard job to fill well. And I think it's really unfortunate that a year after they had to replace Mike Keith, they now have to replace Dave McGinness at a time when the organizational identity is undergoing such a big switch with a second-year GM and a first-year head coach and a first-year staff and a lot of first-year players for the organization. You would love to still have a presence like Mac, who is kind of the chief salesman, which is an even more important job after 4 bad seasons, back-to-back 3-3s. And so they're going to be hurting in that department, no matter who it is.
Oh, and to that point, I mean, you've been around this organization since they've been here, and both his time as a coach and then his time as a radio analyst. I mean, anybody who's been around him loved Coach Mack. I just give you an opportunity to say a few words on his passing here.
Yeah, I mean, he had a contagious passion for the game. He was a friend to everybody. He was a real resource to me. I would go to him for, when I had a question about a scheme or personnel usage or stuff that I didn't feel like I could get a good answer from in-house, or I needed somebody relatively detached from it. He never hesitated to talk me through something. And his Rolodex, Dan Pompey over at The Athletic. I know we can't talk about him. He works at The Athletic, but he had 3,800 contacts, according to Dan Pompey, in his phone. And he shared plenty of people with me and with my old show that served my site very well in terms of adding people to stories, adding voices to stories, adding voices to our show that were an invaluable part of what we did, and never with a second thought from him, because he was so gracious.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Lots more to get into with PK. We welcome your Titans questions at 615-737-1025. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us from paulkuharsky.com, talking all things Titans, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Ian just asked a good question during the break, worth bringing up. PK, do you think the Titans would want to trade back in this draft? We've talked a lot about what's going on at 4. Well, I see all these mocks. I mean, Kuiper just came out with one that just have Bailey going 2 to the New York Jets. So maybe he's gone. Maybe Reese is gone. And you're looking at Jeremiah Love, which everybody's mocking to go to the Titans right now at number 4. Would the Titans want to trade back at number 4 if presented with that opportunity?
Maybe. I think 12 is about as far as you would go down, right? And I don't know who exactly you're loving there. It brings offensive linemen maybe more into the equation.
I think for sure.
I mean, are people going to riot if the Titans take a guard at 12?
Probably.
2 guards in, 4 years?
Yeah, I think a tackle would be more appropriate, right? Take a tackle. There's tackles. There's first-round tackles.
Yeah,
see the doctor for Proctor.
I have a hard time with a tackle who's not going to help you immediately. I understand the long-term health of the franchise and all of that. But if you then had 12 and 20 and 35, you certainly could knock out some things that.
And that, of course, would be with a trade with the Cowboys in that particular situation,
which would include, and you'd be getting. I don't know. Did 12 and 20 come out on the calculator with 4? I think you'd be getting more than that as well. So, the problem is that this draft is regarded as top heavy and that there are probably 8, 10, 12 true first rounders here. And already we're saying if you go to 12, you're getting a receiver there who's not the best receiver in this draft probably isn't a clear-cut number 1 receiver. So you're not solving that problem. If you got down there to Bain, well, we know that there are questions about Bain, who could be quite a good NFL player, but doesn't come in, with no questions as a clear-cut wide edge rusher. Or you get into this, you get your left tackle of the future, but he's not giving you immediate help. Or you get a guard and you're the team that's drafted 2 guards in the top 12 in 4 years, which is not primo real estate.
I don't think it's insane to think that one of these tackles could beat out Dan Moore, but I guess we'll see. Or maybe we won't see.
No, he could beat him out for sure. But then again, your financial roster is a little screwy where you got a $22 million guy on the bench.
Be a heck of a swing tackle, though. Moving to either side.
That's right.
Swing him.
Yeah.
Swing
that door. So this scenario would be what? Would be the Cowboys either trying to get Love or trying to get ahead of the Giants to get Sonny Styles?
Everybody kind of is expecting the Cowboys to move up. We'll see. When everybody starts to talk about this before the draft, it makes me wonder whether or not it's actually going to happen. And, we've talked about the trade part of this, but, it would be very Jerry Jones-like to try to jump up and make a huge move in the draft. So, I don't know. We're just – I don't know that there's – when you're not trading up for a quarterback or a pass rusher, and, if you're trading up with the Titans at 4, the presumption is that Bailey and Reese are gone at that point.
Possibly. Yeah.
I mean, does somebody love – look, people are going to love, no pun intended, love. But are you trading up? Are you giving up future assets to jump up and get a running back?
I mean, Jerry Jones, that sounds like something he might do. But, most people would be like, taking a running back that high is enough of a conversation. Giving up assets is kind of wild. Kind of like,
really makes
do not do that.
Really makes it questionable in terms of all that you're investing into him. He's going to be top 10 highest paid running back coming in the door. That 5th-year option will make him a giantly paid running back in his 5th year, and you're giving up draft assets to go get him. It's a lot. It increasing, the talk now is that Bailey's going to be gone at 4, which to me makes things tougher on the Titans. I don't think the Ruben Bain stuff that's become new to us is new to teams.
Yep.
So I think he's already baked into where he is on the draft board for people.
Yeah, Texter's asked him about top of the second. That's just
no. The question is, The question is for teams, is this a guy who's got an issue with a Range Rover, or is this a guy who's got an issue?
Because he did have the thing after that
into his both driving issues, though. So,
right,
is he a bad driver? Is he a guy with a bad gas pedal foot, or is it indicative of something that extends into his on the field character? Indications that I've gotten are that teams don't really have a problem with him as a human being. But he has an issue, obviously, that needs to be resolved. He's going to face a civil suit, obviously, which is going to be a distraction. But Robert Saleh talked at the owners' meetings about, just crossing off character guys. I don't think it doesn't sound like he would fall into the bucket of the kind of character guy that you would cross off based on these things that have come to light in the media that came to light a long time ago for teams.
Yeah, teams knew what the Titans knew a long time ago, right?
Yeah. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Robby?
What's up?
Joe, Paul Kuharsky. Hey, Joe, you got to quit letting Paul come at you like that. Paul, you got to understand, I'm Joe's number one guy. I'm his bodyguard. I'm always look out for Joe and speak up for him. But Joe, you gotta stop. Joe, you did a good job representing yourself and saying what you said earlier and how you handled that situation. So I'm going to agree with you.
I appreciate
That's right. So Paul, I like you, Mr. Arrogant. I like you. I do. But when you come at Joe, you're gonna have to come at me, and I am who I am about Joe. But again, Paul, I respect you and I like you. You're a good guy on the show. Like listening to you. Like listening to all y'all. But y'all were talking about the Titans. I think they will trade back. I'm looking at the Jets and the Cardinals above them. They're going to trade back too, I believe. Cardinals have a lot of needs. Jets have a lot of picks. As far as going down to 12, you're probably right about that. But I just wanted to call in and talk to y'all about that. Hey, Robby, I did win that golf tournament this weekend. So I got my third Bobby Knight jacket, and thanks to my swing coach Edgar Lane, Guru, and I didn't say Butch Harmon, but I did win that tournament. But hey, man, I just called to talk to y'all for a minute. I'm gonna get up the road.
Thank you,
Have
Mark.
a good day, Paul.
Appreciate you.
Thanks. They're not all
Thanks,
trading
Mark.
back. I mean, there's not that much,
especially when, like Robby said, there's not even a quarterback, right? Like the one quarterback's going to be gone, so that's not. One would be the max, probably, right?
Well, I saw Kuiper's mock draft this morning, and he had the Cardinals trading back into the first round after they picked originally at number 3 to go get Simpson at number 30, which is always fascinating to me. Like the idea of, we like Simpson enough to trade back into the first round to go get him, but we don't like the quarterback enough to take him at number 3 where they are. Like, it's always an interesting discussion.
Yeah, but I mean, you're trying to gamble and hope that like you can get another primo player and you'll still be able to safely do it, right?
And
I get what you're saying.
You get
it's
the
like the
fifth year.
Titans with Levis.
You get the 5th year is the thing to get back into the first round to get him. So if you hit on him, you get some contract assurances there.
I appreciate
See it
Mark's
happen all the time.
endorsement. I think he was a little easy on PK,
I
but
think
that's
it was
okay.
pretty-
He was kind of kind to you.
Pretty
but,
circular and pretty much you can do no wrong. It's kind of like Trump support. Like if you're in, you're all the way.
Hey,
in.
let's do it. Let's do some politics the rest of the
let's get
show.
that in
There we
too.
go.
It's good stuff too. No, well, I guess if you're taking Simpson, first off, you're talking about a totally new coaching staff. So if you trade back up in the first round to go get Ty Simpson, if you're Arizona, I mean, don't you kind of tie yourself to Ty Simpson? No pun intended. I'm doing a lot of love and
time to tie.
Love, tie.
But like, aren't you kind of tying yourself to a quarterback at that point that you didn't trade back up in the first round and go get? Like, I don't know if frankly, I don't know that I would love tying myself to any of these quarterbacks, Mendoza included. But if you're a new coach, I understand they've got Brissett and Minshew. Is that their quarterback room in Arizona?
Right? That's the duo.
It's terrific.
You combine them into one
player.
One player.
It still wouldn't be very good.
You could win 7.
Maybe.
Who's going to start, Brissett or Minshew?
So Minshew will win the job. He'll have a couple amazing games, and he'll throw 4 picks, and then Brissett will start.
Gardner Minshew's only 29 years old, by the way.
That's wild.
You could have told me he was 37, and I'd be like, "Yep, sure, sounds right."
Yeah, get that like tiny Grizzly Adams thing going on.
615-737-1025.
Mini Grizzly.
Our phone number. More questions to get to with PK. We welcome your questions on our text line. Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com is with us. Our off-season coverage brought to you by Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of football off-season coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Let's head back to our phone line. Welcome in East Nashville Ed to the program. East Nashville Ed, good morning.
East Nashville Ed.
Good morning, guys. Hey, Paul, got a question for you.
Yes.
Paul, I always cringe when I hear when running backs are on the board. The question becomes, oh, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can catch the ball. He can catch the ball. How many times in a game or in a season does a running back catching the ball really help you? I want a running back who can run between the tackles.
Hi, welcome to 1983. I'm East Nashville Ed. Have you heard of Marshall Faulk?
I love is Alvin Kamara. And as good as Alvin Kamara is, I think the thing that's hurt the Saints over the years is that they don't have a running back who can run between the tackles. I mean, that looks good in the first and second quarter, but at the end of the game, when you got to sustain the drive, if you don't have a good, powerful running back that can,
Mike Ditka was right, man. Ricky Williams was worth the entire draft.
I think he's raising a fair point in that.
Thank you, Ed. So I am the one who has to be mean to Ed. You're the one who's going to be nice to him.
Unless it's Christian McCaffrey, and a lot of guys come out and you hear that they're going to be Christian McCaffrey, and then they turn out not to be that impactful. I do want a guy that can run between the tackles in the fourth quarter, in 4 minutes, because you're going to be in a close game. I think Jeremiah Love can do that.
He can do that
100%,
and will do that.
Saquon Barkley can do both. There's
yes.
plenty of people who can do both.
How effective are you
important.
as a pass-catching running back that adds to it? A good pass-catching running back can be a great feature, but he's not going to replace the number one receiver that you're lacking. People do tend to overweigh that. Well, this guy's such a good weapon that he's going to help offset what you're losing by not getting the receiver.
Yeah, what it would offset would be like maybe not investing in like a good slot receiver, right? That'd be more of the replacement.
Which the Titans
or tight end
just invested in Wan'Dale Robinson.
Right.
So
it's not bad to have both.
They're doubling up on that. But yes, he's a running back first and foremost. You want him to take the carries. Getting the additional touches can create some matchup problems and diversify your offense. But it doesn't offset the need for somebody ideally better than Carnell Tate, who's not available to them here and remains a need.
Well, by the way, you can do both. Like Jahmyr Gibbs last year is a good example. He ran for 1,200 yards. He averaged 5 yards a carry, and he caught 77 balls last year for 616 and 5 touchdowns.
What was his
That's pretty valuable.
What was his average per catch?
His average per catch was 8.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
which is nice.
Yeah, like look, I have not heard a Saints fan. I guess we'll have to ask Vingan this. Vingan, if you're still in the chat, weigh in. I've never heard people say, what the problem with the Saints last year is not having that running back between the tackles who could. Yeah, I don't think it might be like because, they had a great quarterback and now they don't. That might be my thing. They had cap issues.
That
cap
caught up
to them
at long last.
That also was a thing. But, I mean, I'm all for running between the tackles. But
sure.
And like Derrick Henry's the other way, right? He's the example of the great runner with the football who, unless we're counting screens, really is no
Limited
factor and is off the field on 3rd and medium or 3rd and long.
Let's head back to the phone line. Welcome in Ed in New Jersey. Ed, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. Ed from Jersey does not have the same ring as East Nashville Ed. I got to work on that.
That's true.
Jersey Ed's better.
So, I have read your article, Paul, on paulkuharsky.com. Blake Bedingfield's article on the offensive line. I really enjoyed it, but I was left with a question, and I'm hoping you can walk me through here. He mentions a really good point about, you don't draft offensive linemen to fit the coaching staff scheme because they come and go, and now you're left with the player who might be orphaned when that coaching staff is gone. So you draft based on talent and skills. So if Organzi goes to Dayball and says, "Who do you like?" and he says, "Yeah, I love Basantis because he has these skill sets and blah, blah, blah." How do you know and be collaborative with the coaching staff? How do you know it's, a translatable skill set that can work in any system, or is he just saying that because he likes it for his system? I just find that to be really a challenge here and not just easier said than done.
Yeah,
when I came away from reading that article.
It's definitely easier said than done. And I can't help but think Carmen Brasillo and Dayball are going to have influence over what kind of offensive lineman they take. But I also think offensive linemen at the top of this draft, like Basantis, are going to have translatable skill sets that any offensive line coach should be able to work with. And I think, if you're feeling like you might be at the end of a coach's term, then you should give them less say. If you're at the beginning of this coach's term, you have to be optimistic and expect that this coach is going to be in place for 3-4 years at least. And I would say, you're not coaching specifically saying, oh, this guy absolutely fits this offensive line coach, and that's why we'd take him. But I think he'd be a little bit more loose with it.
Well, and I think you get more into that the deeper into the draft you go, right? Like there are better scheme fits for, 4th and 5th round. Like you really start to dive into that stuff.
That's what they always say.
You better not be drafting J.C. Latham at 7th overall because he's like a certain scheme fit. Like, no, you need to have a certain level of talent if you're going that high.
And we're about to see how that goes into practice because J.C. Latham was a Bill Callahan selection. Now he better be able to translate to Carmen Brasillo.
Yes.
Right. But, and also, like, to me, you have to value the input, right? And you may end up being like, look, I just think, I have my own reasons that I think this is a better way to go than that. But you have to value the input of these people, right? If you don't, why are you employing them?
But we are seeing that there are too many guys that were connected to the previous regime in a way. Look at Brownlee, look at Sweat. Sweat's more of a scheme thing, but there are not enough holdovers from one regime to the next in a my guy, your guy kind of way. That's not healthy. It seems I haven't done any big comparison to it, but it doesn't seem like there are enough holdovers.
Yeah,
of young guys.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, they moved a couple that I wouldn't have necessarily moved last year, but they did.
They did on that side. And, the
and some of that was before the new guy was even in place, right? That's
Yeah.
a GM thing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Right.
So, and the Sweat thing, you could probably trace that more directly to Saleh, right? Like it's, you identified the defense you want to run, and we talked about it. He didn't fit. So that part of it makes sense, but,
And they came out
and
well.
the other
there.
stuff too. There's other stuff about him that's like,
GM didn't like him, and the coach couldn't fit him. Now, and you come out okay there, except that Sweat had 2 years left and Jermaine has 1 year left. Yep. And so you're trading off contract timing.
Yep, for sure. I also think when you're looking at the offensive line part of this, we've talked about how concerning it is if, like, potentially you're starting a rookie at center with your second-year quarterback heading on all this. If on the Latham front, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I like taking away built-in excuses for Cam Ward at quarterback, like doing as much as you can to do that. I like the idea of taking away built-in excuses for J.C. Latham heading into his third year too. And now all of a sudden I'm looking to his left and I'm like, well, who's playing right guard? Who's playing center? And is it going to be so bad where either it actually does affect him to a level that's a huge problem, or you look at Latham struggling halfway through the year and you're like, well, what do you expect him to do? Look at who's playing center and guard next to him.
But I would, just like the Cam Ward excuse, I think that he's got to be out of excuses. I mean, of course. I mean, does it adversely affect you? I have no doubt that it does. But he has to be able to command his area. Like, it's like,
I agree.
At this point, he needs to step up and show that he is a difference-making player on his own.
It's a forced graduation, though. Like,
you
ideally you would have an experienced vet next to him that he could lean on. And now it appears, unless this draft doesn't pan out the way they want and they go back to Zeitler, he's not going to have, he's not going to have that. And so
Zeitler just waiting on them, hoping they, like, is he that unwanted a commodity in this league?
Well, I think he's waiting on the league. You know, whatever opportunities he has are going to come out of that. So whatever team has an open
it's not a good
guard
sign
spot,
though, right? Like, and I think it kind of matches up with last year. He wasn't very good, and
I thought he got better as the
he
year
was
went.
better
though.
than we think, but I think part of the thing is, he's a 15-year guy. He's going to need a day off during the week. You're expecting a downturn. He's not going to get better.
Yeah, he's 36.
He's only going to get worse. And so ideally you're going a different direction, but he's probably going to find work. Right. And so on the one hand, you'd like him back because he benefits Latham and because you know what you're getting. On the other hand, you should find better. If it was just right guard, I'd have no problem with that. If they were going into the draft saying, all right, we're going to draft a starting right guard. Problem is it's 2 spots, not 1.
615-737-1025. One more segment with PK coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Paul Kuharsky with us from paulkuharsky.com. Taking your questions at 615-737-1025. Adam in Portland on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Joe, what do you mean when you say that you're out of excuses for Cam Ward? Because when I hear that, I think last year he had plenty of excuses, and the fact that he had like the hardest rookie schedule anybody could ever have, 0 weapons and a dumb coach. I understand that you swapped the coach, but you still have a new coaching staff. You gave him a slot receiver. You really didn't improve the offense that much. Like I love that everybody acts like the offense is going to be, revolutionized, but we added a slot receiver, and we still have questions on the offensive line. So I don't understand why you're acting like if Cam sucks, it's on Cam now. There's still plenty of reasons why it's not on Cam. Like I like Cam a lot. I want to know where you get that statement from.
What did I say?
Well, first off, I think it was me. I said I'm in the business of trying to eliminate excuses for Cam Ward.
Yeah, the point is you want to get to the Robby started about it. We've talked about a lot, which is basically you want to get to the point where we can evaluate Cam and not always have excuses for him. Yeah, I mean I think we all would acknowledge they're not there yet. Bad situation, for sure last year. But yeah, you want to get to that point. And then I took it to Latham. I think we're at the point with Latham where it's like you got to show more on your own. I don't care if I'm trying to think of the guy they drafted out of Bama. Oh my gosh.
Chance Warmack?
Yes. I don't care if Chance Warmack is next to you. Okay. Like you got to show more. You got to take care of your own business. We got to stop talking about, oh yeah, I was 50 pounds overweight last year and whatever. Like you got to be better.
Third year, first round picks. I agree. A third year, first round pick should be in the I'm established area.
Yeah.
Not the help me area.
Like Skoronski last year. And again, he didn't have
Skoronski into his third year.
Right.
He was a little slower than we want.
Yeah.
But he had a okay left tackle next to him. He had a unstable center situation next to him. We all could see that Peter Skoronski can play. Well, that's what JT
and was
Latham
elevating those guys next to him, not needing to be elevated by guys around him.
There you go.
By the way, Chance Warmack, Super Bowl champion. Put some respect on his name.
There you go. It's ring culture. That's all that matters.
Put some respect.
Where was he? Eagles?
Yeah, 2018.
How about that?
Nick Foles and Chance Warmack getting it done out there. Brady, have some of that.
Was he on the field for the Philly special?
I don't know. I'm sure he was.
He wasn't playing for that team.
I don't know.
He was dressed, I assume. Was he dressed for the Philly special?
There's a photo of him holding a newspaper that says super on it.
He's in
nice.
He's in uniform.
He's in uniform. Look, these Titans
can't miss Alabama offensive line prospects.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Can't miss. And I mean, that was picked by Mike Munchak. So I mean,
a guy who knows offensive line play, who knows offensive line, who's a great offensive line coach.
Thought that guy was going to be an answer.
Yeah,
anybody can be wrong. You can be the greatest expert, or what? Anybody can be wrong on these players.
I mean, look at Joe Rexrode.
Part of what makes it.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, that's fine. So we're waiting for your first one, though. We're waiting for you to be wrong on one. Oh, that's right. Paulie No Takes never tells us what he thinks about a player. Paulie No Takes doesn't have any opinions.
Paulie No Takes.
Except
that's
he
what
wanted me to say, oh, guys, I'm not going to talk about this story.
That's what I was thinking
Thank
about
you.
the whole time. The first segment he was here today, I was like, yeah, No Takes. He's in here today.
Yeah, Paulie No Takes.
Paulie No Takes. That's what he's famous for.
I just don't pretend to be an expert in college football.
Or anything.
I have some expertise.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Tell us your areas of specific
He's a professor,
expertise.
For God's sake.
That is true.
Media ethics. I'm pretty strong in media ethics.
Yeah.
Where you failed us today as well.
You would receive a grade of an F from Paul Kuharsky.
D-. But if you meet with me after class, we could talk about some potential for extra credit.
I really hope none of your students meet with you after class.
Oh, we talk after class. Yeah.
Anybody bring you an apple?
Lovely time. No apple. I brought them chocolate last week.
Is that ethical? Is that ethical?
Yeah,
oh, sure.
Nice.
They're hungry.
Class. Yeah,
they're hungry.
We got exams
I need
coming
to
up?
keep them. I need to keep them pepped up. Exams in early May. It's not an exam. It's a project.
Oh, you're not doing a final? You don't have a Scantron final? You've got
no. I have a project. Group project.
We probably should talk more about Paul's professorial life. I think
we should.
I think there's a lot there that we could probably get at. especially this summer after the draft.
I'd
and there's
rather talk
nothing
about
to
that.
talk about for months.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad
You
the draft's
come
here
for
next
draft.
Thursday.
You come for draft talk, and you get media ethics.
Have some of that
class. I'll give a whole class. We'll put up PowerPoints on the YouTube.
Are we going to get a Joe Rexrode or a Paul Kuharsky mock draft between now and next Thursday?
Absolutely not.
You know,
Joe, you're gonna.
I
do it?
haven't been asked,
32.
so I think they might finally be like, hey, go away. I've taken part in the beat writer mock draft still, but that's just taking.
We
one
get another
pick.
one of those
Oh,
coming
no,
up.
they're going to want a 7-round
probably.
Titans mock from their Titans
I bet you
beat
there's
writer.
probably- They have in the past, so maybe they've kind of like moved away from me.
Understanding your detachment
Understandably
from the
so.
team. Will you be at the Titans press conference tomorrow morning?
No.
Athletic needs to be represented at that, I would think.
Would you?
I think you should be there.
There you go.
Do you teach anything other than media ethics?
This semester, I'm teaching two different classes of media ethics.
But
Back
it's
to
all
back. I have
ethics.
15 minutes between.
Wow, he goes 2 in a row.
Back to back.
We have people on the text line saying they'd love to be in your class.
Yeah, it's not inexpensive to go to Belmont, but check it out.
Paul, thank you for being with us today here on the program. A week from today, we will be 1 day away from the draft. Heavy draft discussion.
A week
next week.
from today, we will be have such a better feel of exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah,
Sure.
It'll be a lot of the same exact stuff we've been saying.
Don't block the box and be sure to lock your locks. The kids got a lesson on that.
That's right. That's right. That does it for us today. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. Andrew Brunette with us on the show tomorrow at 7:30. Charles Robinson at 8 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have it all for you starting at 6 o'clock. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.
It's for the kids. It's for the kids. It's for the kids.